What's up, everybody? So we're here. We want to become a truck driver for 2025. You want to drive a truck. You want to drive a semi truck, a local truck, over the road, long distance, dirt hauler. There's 1,000 different type of jobs you could do in trucking. But the first step is to get your commercial driver's license. And it's kind of a uniform way to do it across the whole country. There's kind of two, and the point of this video is like to get you started, right? Like, what is it? What are we looking for? Right? What are we looking for in how to get trained to be a truck driver, to get your commercial driver's license, right? So there's a couple ways you can do it. You can go to a community college. They offer courses. They offer programs where you can become a commercial driver. They have trucking academies. That's all they do. And then they have big carriers, big trucking companies. They actually offer a school in-house. And all of those have their pluses and minuses, but I think before you even look into those three options, because that's pretty much it, right? Universally, right? Because back in the day, people used to be able to kind of teach themselves. So the idea that you kind of want to start off with is, what kind of trucking do you want to do? Now, if you're open to it, you can do over the road, you can do local, you can do what they call regional, where you stay like in a region, like say the West Coast, Midwest. Some places you just stay within like a state. Like all those are viable options, right? But before you start wanting to become a truck driver, just know that your family situation, you have to take all that into consideration, right? So what you have, so before we even talk about leaving to the academy or which academy to pick, because the bottom line is, and I'll give you the answer to that right now, is there's really no wrong answer to that. And part of the issue is that you'll hear a lot of old time truck drivers that really don't have any reference to it because they taught themselves how to drive. They got their license 20, 30 years ago. It was different. I've had my license for 16 years and it's even different now. Not that much, but it's different now. So you have to ask yourself, being a truck driver, what is that going to mean for me and my family? If you're single, you have no kids, and you don't have a lot of bills, you'll probably be more available to all the other jobs, over the road, regional, so forth and so on. But if you do have a family, if you're just married, if you have a home situation where you can't necessarily change, then you have to look at like local jobs, right? And then over the road jobs, you're going to be away from your family for the first time. If you've never had a job where you're traveling consistently, it's going to be difficult. So before you even decide to get your trucker's license, you have to say to yourself, what am I really interested in doing? Or am I just desperate to get a job? Do I need money? Am I not making enough money? So what kind of sacrifice am I willing to do? Right. And then the question that a lot of people have is, how much is the trucking school or how much is the academy going to cost me? And I don't want to commit to a contract to work for a company for X amount of years if they agree to get me my license. Now, I will say this as an experienced driver who went through a big carrier to get his truck driver's license. The time goes by faster than you think. And at the beginning of your trucking career, you're not going to be as successful as you think you are. The people that are the recruiters, they're told to tell you what the potential is and what the reality is completely different. And also too, it depends on what type of person you kind of talk to about this, right? Local guys, over the road guys, old school guys that have been around for 30 years, their experience in getting their CDL is completely different than somebody that, say me, that got my CDL 16 years ago versus somebody that got their CDL 2 years ago versus somebody that's in CDL or commercial driver's license school right now. And the cost is going to be completely different. And you're going to hear people say, I didn't have to pay nothing for my CDL. I just would have took the test and they gave me my license. That's not the way it's allowed to happen anymore, right? That's not the way it works anymore. And so you have to pretty much go through either a big carrier, or you have to go to an academy or go to a community college that offers a CDL training school, because there's a lot of insurance involved. Using a vehicle to test, all that's costs money, and it's highly regulated now, right? So the thing about the trucking industry, when you start thinking about like, well, how much is it going to cost? Well, it's a trade, right? It's a profession. and you're getting a professional commercial driver's license, that you'll make more money. You will make more money if you stick with it. Now, that's a fact. How much money you make more, how much money you make more than what you were doing at whatever job you are, that all depends, right? Is it worth it? I would say yes, it is. And then like any job, right? So like any trucking job, and this is before you even decide to go get a trucking, to go to the school, you have to look at it this way, right? In the world of trucking, you have what they call endorsements, and those are like additional things that you're allowed to, additional vehicles that you're allowed to do, or allowed to drive. Like for example, hazmat, you can haul hazardous materials, what they call doubles and triples, where you can haul those, multiple small trailers. You have tanker, where you can haul pneumatic, and then you have, with hazmat and tanker, you can haul fuel, and then, so you have all these different type of endorsements you can get. And so a lot of people just get the basic driver's license and they expect top tier pay. So in other words, in the world of trucking, it is true that the harder the job, or the more detail oriented you have to be at the trucking job, it's going to be pays less. That's just the way it works. So the basics. So let's talk about this. The dry van is your kind of basic trucking job, where you're just hauling a trailer that has 2 doors, and you lock them in there and you haul. You don't have to have any special, but that's what everybody does at the beginning. So that's the lowest demand job, because everybody does it right off the bat. And then you have your flatbed, where you haul, it's like a platform trailer, they call it, where you haul exposed freight. You have to chain things down, strap them down, tarp them down. That takes a little bit more effort, so less people want to do that job because it's a little bit more physically demanding. And then you have, so it pays a little better, right? It's more consistent freight. So the harder job you get, or in the industry, the more in demand you'll be, and the higher pay it'll be. So if you're a person that doesn't want to be physical at all, if you're a person that doesn't want to get hands-on, and you just want to do basic truck driving, understand, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, understand that the lower the demand, the lower the pay it'll be. That's just the way it works. So when you decide that you want to go become a commercial trucker, you have to decide, how many licenses do I want to get, which makes you more marketable when you go into the job force. That's just the truth about it. We haven't even talked about which schools to go to. We haven't even talked about anything like that. So just understand and know, the very beginning of this, when you say to yourself, I want to be a truck driver, how do I get my foot in the door? How do I get in a career that's going to pay me good, right? Trucking pays good, because there's always going to be, because it's how America gets all their goods and services, right? It's how they get all the lumber, all the food, all the toilet paper, like everything. It's all about, in the truck industry, you have trains and you have all this other stuff, but there's jobs for everybody in this field, in this industry. Doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, if you're physically able, if all this other stuff. You just have to be willing to learn. You have to have a positive attitude. If anything, getting your trucker license, I'm gonna make videos about that too. But just having a positive attitude is going to get you literally to the finish line, from thinking about getting a trucker's license to actually having your CDL and getting your first job on your own. Those 2 points, having a good attitude, is going to go a long way. And being open, taking some notes, and just having the philosophy is, I want to find the job that is maybe in the highest demand, and also something that I can actually do. Because if you're not physically able to do flatbed, where you're securing, tarping loads, then maybe that job's not for you. There's nothing wrong with that, because there's a demand for truck drivers in many, many different jobs. But the beginning of your search, you've determined that you want to be a truck driver, you just got to start asking questions, start doing research. And we're going to go over this in subsequent videos, because this is what the trucker forum is about, is, where do I want to work? What kind of job do I want to do? Can I go over the road where I'm going to be gone from my family? If I have a family, will they be understanding? Have this experiences before? Do you know anybody that has that type of job? And you can ask those questions and pickle that with a grain of salt, right? Because we don't know that necessarily is going to be what's true for them is true for you. That's another thing too. And I'll end it with this video. I'll end it here, is What's true for somebody is not true, is not necessarily going to be true for you. It could be, but it's not necessarily. So you're going to have people that on the internet, that are on the on social media. Oh, I made this much money. I did this. A lot of those people are just telling stories. They're kind of making it so that you feel uncomfortable getting into trucking. So a lot of those observations that a lot of people have, they're going to get they're going to get a lot of misinformation about what the trucking industry is actually about. So you just have to start by being very inquisitive. Start by saying to yourself, can I do this? And if I can, if I need to, what am I willing to sacrifice? Like I said, if you have a family where you have kids, it's not going to be the best idea for you to go over the road. They're going to tell you you're going to make the most money, but in fact, you're going to be away from your family, and maybe that's not the best thing to do. So anyways, what are your thoughts? This is kind of the beginning to this kind of series of, you want to be a truck driver in 2025, where to start. Talk to you later.